Hello. Just waiting for my cohort Nadine to join us. We're going to be talking today about my book, Love Me. Here she is. Oh, let me let her in. She should be joining us. And if you're joining us live here, hey Nadine.
Hello, hello.
This. So, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's hot here.
Yeah, we've got a bit of hot weather, so shouldn't complain. But
Yeah.
it's a little
Not,
bit hot, but it's lovely. It's
yeah.
lovely.
Not really complaining, but it's just yeah.
I do.
You can probably tell I look hot. So we're just waiting maybe to see if anyone else joins us. But if you're joining
Yeah.
us, would love to hear where you're from. And
Yes. Do say hi. Put a
yeah.
comment. Say hi. Let us know where you are.
So
Got someone I can see here. Is it
yeah.
Patricia? Hi, Patricia.
Thank you for joining us. So we are, my name is Trish. Nadine is here, Nadine Searle from Calmer Self. And we're going to be talking about my book, Love Me. She's reading it and had asked me, if you haven't seen any of our chit chats before about the book, she asked if we could have some discussions on it because there's topics that are in the book. It's really a story about my own journey of healing, of finding self-love, and there's poetry mixed in that, but there's a lot of themes that are common and people can draw parallels. And so it's, one thing to read a book and, maybe glean some wisdom from it, but it's another thing to then have a discussion and talk about it with other people and share our experiences that way. And I think that's so healing because it helps to talk to somebody about it and know that we're not alone in whatever it is that we're navigating in life, because it's always something. So thank you so much, Nadine, for suggesting this and for being open to talk about your own experiences too.
I love it. I feel really inclined to say to everyone, I get to ask you these questions and I'm so pleased that I do. So thank you for that. But, I don't want to be greedy. Other people can ask questions too. So please do. And I want to say hello. I've just seen Amanda and Teresa join in. We've got a hello, Karen, I think it is. So
hi there.
Thank you. Just say hi in the comments for us if you want to, and definitely join in with us. Don't feel we can talk forever, can't we? So
I know. Yeah.
Please do join in.
So
but yeah, I just love it when I read your book, and as you say, it's really, I don't know if I can show everybody, is that round the right way?
Yeah.
If you haven't got it already, get it. But it is hi, someone's saying hi. It's just, I read very slowly. Everything that I read, I just go, oh, I have a little think about it. And then I've got these questions and I can ask them, which is lovely. And I've just got to say to everyone, it makes me think and it makes me go deep, but it is an easy read because, I mean, obviously there's emotional stuff, but you've written it so beautifully. It's lovely to read. And you've got poems in there as well, haven't you? So it's really lovely just to have that, it changes the how you're reading it, doesn't it? To have a bit
it's like a little carpet ride there. You're kind of processing the logical brain, but you're also feeling the emotions through the poetry. So it does take some time to digest it and get through it, and it can be a book that you can keep coming back to for reference, as you have said before too. So
I've always got it.
And there's lots of things, like you said, sometimes and that's why I shared it in the way that I did. So some things are, some hard truths to hear, or some themes that are a lot of times people don't want to talk about. But I felt it was important to share it in the way that I did because my story is not like unique. I know it might be unique to me, the exact experiences, but we all, like I said, can draw parallels from the themes around what I'm talking about. So one of them is, I know that you were sparked, and this is what led us to this conversation today. Do you want to share that?
Yes, definitely. I'm going to read the little bit out, the line that people have already seen if they looked and they're joining in. The bit that I really feel is powerful. Minimizing our trauma
Mm.
is a survival mechanism. Now that in itself, discuss almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the paragraph that you've written afterwards, if I may read it,
Sure.
again, it really hit home, and I read and then I have to stop. I go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, and reread. So I'm
Mm.
glad that I can do that. So the paragraph is, when I had this realization, I downplayed it as if to further protect myself from his harm. Minimizing it helped me. I convinced myself that it really didn't affect me. How could it if I'd forgotten? Not realizing that was a survival mechanism of my natural intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I unknowingly used my survival instinct by blocking it out to lessen the pain. Now, even just as I read it, I got, oh my God, powerful, powerful stuff. And again, the fact that you're sharing that makes people go, oh, maybe that's how I feel.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're bringing this up. It's such a complex topic. So I think we're going to break this conversation up and just kind of, step by step,
Yes.
because it is so complex. But that whole, the minimizing, what I had that realization that I was minimizing my trauma. And, we can probably get into another conversation about what is trauma, because I think,
yes,
there's
I
that.
think
This was something
big
that
topic.
I had a realization later on in life that this had happened, and that what I'm talking about, that our survival mechanism is to, a lot of times, because it's so traumatic, we block it out unknowingly. We don't even realize it. It's our subconscious that's where it's buried.
Mm.
And it is a survival mechanism. It is a protection of sorts, because our ego is always right there wanting us to be feel safe. So it's that is like, that happens a lot of times without us even realizing that's what's going on. And then we think, even when I had the realization of this happening to me, or remembering, then it was like, okay, but it wasn't so bad. So there's then the minimizing of myself, consciously minimizing it to make it smaller than it actually was, to say, oh, I wasn't impacted. It didn't affect me. Look at me. I'm okay. Yes. And then kind of brushing it off. It's a way to kind of avoid it, but it's always going to stay there if we don't address it. Like, we think we can convince ourselves that we're okay with whatever it is that's happened to us. I mean, even, whatever the experience is, whether it's in our childhood, going to school with friends, and, having a traumatic experience at school, or being bullied, or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Can you relate to that? And
so much what you're saying. I feel, when you said about it just pops up without us realizing. It reminds me of, like, with wild animals, the classic, they play dead to survive.
Yeah.
And it works, doesn't it? So that's what I'm thinking of. It's survival in the moment. And I'm not, disputing that at all. But is it really, that's my sort of question, is it really survival? Because at some point in time, we might find out later on it was a bit damaging to be that way, but it is something that we do without realizing, isn't it? So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And that is for me. So that was my biggest question, is it really, oh, I don't know, and also that kind of, you said about, we do it sometimes, and it is just what we do without thinking. I remember as a young child being bullied a little bit at school. Most people have experienced something like that. And I did on purpose downplay the impact it had, because that was, I thought then that actually, if I don't let them know that they've hurt me, they won't do that again, because they're trying to hurt me. So again, that was quite multifaceted, really, because I was going, that was sort of what I was told, the classic, oh, don't let them know they've hurt you, be strong, be brave, that kind of thing. Now, I was told that by probably parents, teachers, probably everybody, that's what you do. So that's what I did. But also it was that, it did stop them doing that again. They found something else to do, but so it's that kind of just, it made me really question, oh, have I done that before?
Yeah.
Did it work? that kind of thing. And also there is a little bit, you know, I just said I didn't want people to know that they'd hurt me, so I was carrying that shame and that guilt, and like you say, downplaying it maybe because you think, oh, it's not that bad, other people have it worse, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's common, isn't it?
It is
Did you
common.
feel
And
that as well? Oh, it's
that's
okay, really.
that's what I would do at once I had so there's first the blocking, and I feel like that is our ego protecting us as a safety mechanism to just be able to navigate life. And then but when
Yeah.
like I said, when I remembered it, then it was like, oh well, this, it was only this, it wasn't like compared to other
Mm,
people's trauma or other people's
mm,
experiences, it's really not that. But you know, so we compare to try to make ourselves,
yeah,
to minimize it, to then
yeah,
we think what we're doing is making ourselves better, but it's actually causing more harm because we're stuffing down the emotion
yes,
of it. And so
mm,
even like you talked about people, you know, around us, or influencers, wherever they are, trying to say, well, if you don't let people know they're bothering you, then they'll stop or whatever. But then what ends up happening is you end up internalizing that, and then that
yes,
is
yeah,
causing yourself harm. You're causing yourself harm unknowingly. You know, it's kind
that,
of, you know,
yes,
working against you at that point. So it's really, you know, why I brought that up in the book is because I had the realization that I'm not the only one. We've all had experiences, you know, and I had experiences in school too where I was bullied and
mm,
all of that.
mm,
So we pretend that it doesn't bother us
mm,
because we're living in a program. We're living in a social
mm,
program that doesn't allow us to express how we're feeling.
mm,
Nobody is comfortable holding anyone else's emotions then, because they're not even comfortable holding
yes,
their own, because that's the program
mm,
we're living in. And so that's why I'm bringing it up in the book, and to talk about my own experience, not to say, hey, look what happened to me or whatever, but to say, hey, like this is all of us. We all have
yeah,
something that we've
yeah,
been carrying around, or you know, not acknowledging and saying, oh, I'm okay, it really wasn't that big of a deal or whatever. But
yeah,
it does end up showing up in other areas of our life, in our
yeah,
adulthood, and how we
mm,
deal with, you know, the dynamics of our relationship. So that's why it's so important to address it in the moment, and also, you know, acknowledge that what has happened to you, and then go there and
mm,
heal it, because we don't have to, healing it is how we can then release it and not let that be our story anymore. So
yeah. And that is, so that's, you know, a lot of what I'm getting from reading your book is that actually, you know, we can heal, we can get through this. But
yeah,
when I think back to my time, I thought I I didn't know how to tell people that I was hurting. I
yeah,
didn't know what to say. It wasn't something I'd seen.
mm-hmm.
No, nobody I knew did that. So I, you know, even if I wanted to, which I don't think I did at the time, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't, like you say, the adults around me were downplaying it too for maybe their own reasons. I didn't realize. But to actually know, you know, I don't know the words. And this is why I love your book, because people then can go, oh, it's not just me. And maybe they will talk to someone. Maybe they will say, this is me too.
Yeah,
Like I can talk to you. How lovely is that?
yeah,
But also just saying, oh, it's in a book. You know, it's something that we can go, it's not just me, it is other people. And again, you know, encouraging people to talk with us now,
yeah,
you know, and after this chat that we're having, you know, to actually go reach out to us, because yes, we know exactly what it feels like, and there's
mm-hmm.
so many people that do, isn't there? And just feeling that, as I say, I didn't know how to say the words, I didn't know how to feel those feelings, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be hurt. I did, so I just went, well, I'm not pretending I wasn't, because that was easier for me, it was survival at the time.
Yeah,
But it is, so it's that kind of, and I know we both do work in similar ways, don't we? And we speak to a lot of people that
mm-hmm.
have this very common thing going on. They don't realize how traumatic things have been, and they come up. You do your beautiful Reiki, and I know
Mm-hmm.
emotions come up then, don't they?
Yeah,
You've done distance Reiki with me, and emotions bubble up, and sometimes you go, oh, what's that all about?
mm-hmm.
But you're holding that lovely safe space that things can come, and even if I don't understand them, they come up, and I can talk to you about them, or, you know, you help me with that, don't you? So your
Yeah,
work is so, so valuable, isn't it? So
and
really helps.
and yours as well. I mean, you do that just, I mean, we each have our own gifts, and we're sharing it in our own unique way. But that is like, to your very point, that sometimes we don't know how to put words to what we're feeling. And it's always, and it's really not about necessarily, I mean, yeah, it's about identifying, but the words will come once the body can feel it. So that's what we're helping people do, is to, is to allow it, because it's really a process of feeling it. It's more visceral than logical. And so we can't always figure it out in our mind. We have to let that go and let it come up. And a lot of times, like in both of you know, the work that we do, whether it's Reiki or your calmer self method, your gentle questioning, all of those processes that you have, and I mean, we both help each other or help others work through and heal their traumatic experiences, or any, you know, wounds from their childhood, or whatever it might be. But those processes allow that space for it to come up, and we might not even know what it is that's buried until we go, but we know it's something. So until we ask somebody for some help and assistance and support in that. And that's why, the other reason why we're having this conversation too, is to not just, you know, identify it or to read it in the book and say, oh, me too, but then what? And then, you know, that's like why we're talking about it. Why we want to continue to talk about it and ask others to join the conversation. We talked about bringing this into, you know, a private Zoom at some point for people to, you know, to support each other in sharing, you know, their experiences and working through that. So, but I think, you know, the first step is to, you know, going back to minimizing it, but also identifying what it is that's, you know, beneath the surface. So I think, you know, our next chit chat can be, you know, we can do a part 2 of this and talking about, because I think a lot of times maybe we don't even realize that we're carrying something, or we think we're not. We're telling ourselves we're not.
Yeah, I think that is another topic, isn't it? Another, like you say, part 2. And I think that would be wonderful to do, and invite people to come back again or talk to us in the meantime and everything, because I think that's so important. And I also think to maybe have a time when we can do a Zoom call together, and perhaps people can join in the conversation, but maybe privately, because that might be valuable for people. So please do let us know if you would like either of those suggestions or both of them, because that would be, we're happy to do that, aren't we? But I think as well, what you touched on earlier, if you don't mind me going back, is that with the Reiki especially, and in my calmer self method as well, we don't need to know what it is.
Right.
We don't need to be able to say the words. We don't need to be able to talk. And talking therapy is brilliant. But for me, I did so much of it that I was tying myself up in knots with talking and not getting anywhere. And I know it's all about you sort it out when you're ready, and that's true. So I'm not knocking it at all. But for me, the beauty of just when I work with you on distance, you know, I'm just lying down, the work is happening. I'm not really, probably not even conscious of it. It's happening, isn't it? Like you say, I'm releasing, things are coming up, they are releasing. I don't need to know what it is. I don't need to understand it. I don't need to do any hard work, which is a blessing, isn't it? You know?
Right.
So I'd love the process, and I know there's lots of therapists out there, there's energy work that does that in so many different shapes and forms. But it's the beauty of what we both do, isn't it? That we can actually hold that space for people, and sometimes without any words at all, it can just, the change can happen, can't it? You know, and that is really powerful, isn't it, to do that?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that is the whole point of this, is kind of surrendering to letting go of having to effort anything and allowing it just to happen and come up. And then it's navigating and then holding those, whatever emotions might come up. It's to not be afraid to face that, because to feel that, and that's how we can then understand those emotions are just information for us about ourselves, to understand ourselves better. So I think that is part of going back to the programming that we live in, of not dealing or not showing our emotions, just suppressing it and stuffing it down, is the way that we survive as well. But we say we're surviving, but it's not about surviving our life, it's thriving in life. We don't want to just survive. So in the moment, we might block out a traumatic experience. We might suppress something subconsciously just to be able to navigate life. But that's not the way that's not what we came here for. We didn't come here for just to get by, just to mark time until our physical time is up. It's about living the fullest expression of ourselves, and how we can do that is healing the stuff that's taking up space in our body that isn't serving us. So we always hear people say, you know, around the full moon or right before the new moon is coming, you know, let go of what isn't serving you anymore. And it sounds so cliche now, but it's actually true. It's a conscious decision every day to let go of what isn't serving us. It's not something that ever, you know, has an expiration date, because there's constantly things that we can let go of to open up space to live a fuller expression and a fuller expression of ourselves and a fuller life. So that's why we're talking about this.
You're so right. I mean, I do the moon cycles. I mean, I'm in tune with them. I love them. I use them. Every full moon I'm releasing. There's always something to release. And part of my Calmer Self method I call recognize and release, because we've got to recognize it sometimes first. As I say, we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to, but just actually accepting, letting it happen. Like you say, letting that just be, and then releasing. You know, it's so powerful, isn't it? So
it is.
I think it's just, and moon cycles, another topic maybe.
I know, another topic. But so I think you know, we'll segue this into another conversation, a part 2, maybe the same time next week, next Wednesday, the 29th, 12 noon Eastern, 5 p.m. British summertime. Is that what?
It is British summertime. Yeah, it sounds good to me.
You know, we can continue the conversation, because I think this is, like I said, it's so complex. There's a lot to talk about. We want to kind of keep this short too, and but also inviting anyone else who is watching this live or watching it on the replay afterwards, because we'll post this on our Instagrams and Facebooks and you know, to get involved and to let us know what you're thinking about this, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, and you know, we'll continue it next week.
Yeah, no, that'd be really good to do. So yes, please do comment or talk to us privately, you know, send us a message in the meantime, because definitely, you know, we want to hear what you've got to say and ask us lots of questions, because it is all about, isn't it? Speaking, asking for help, that kind of thing. So let's encourage everybody to do that. Yeah.
So where can people find you, Nadine, if they want to work with you?
Yeah, on Instagram, I am the Calmer Self Method. Quite simple, very nice there. And on Facebook, I am Calmer Self. So it's really easy, just Calmer Self everywhere. So that's the way to.
And you have a YouTube channel as well. You can catch,
I do, and that's
you can catch the other replays of our chit chats and all your other meditations. You have some beautiful meditations. I use them personally. So you just have such a gift for that. A beautiful voice, calming voice. So,
thank you.
And
where can everyone find you? You're under This Is Trish Campbell.
This is Trish Campbell on Instagram. This is trishcampbell.com is my website. I also have a YouTube channel, Facebook page, all the same. This is Trish Campbell. You can find my book on Amazon worldwide, indigo.ca, barnesandnoble.com, book depository. So I invite you to get yourself a copy and let us know what you think if you're reading it too. And you know, thank you for everyone who joined us live and who's watching the replay.
Yeah, it's been lovely to see.
Hopefully we'll see you again for part 2 of this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine.
Same time next week. Thank you.
So we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.